Hello everyone, welcome to my channel Relationship Stories. Today, one person is asking us, am I an idiot for telling my teenage son the real reason I left his father? But before we give our judgment, let's hear the story from his side. My ex and I split over a year ago. He had been cheating on me. He wanted to and still wants to work through it. But that's not even a possibility. I have a son who will soon to be 16. The divorce was hard on him, especially because he didn't understand why it was happening. I just told him that his father and I could not make it work anymore and that these things sometimes happen. It's never been a good enough reason for him. His father takes him every other weekend. He's been filling my son's head with ideas of someday getting back together. Then I get to explain to my son that it's not going to happen. Of course, at the point I get the deal with his anger at the situation. The way he saw it was that I kicked his father out of the house, split up our marriage, and am now unwilling to even try to work through it with his poor victim of a father. I have talked to my ex about him bringing our son into our issues before. His response was that if his son is going to come to him and talk to him, he is not going to lie about his feelings. To which I responded, no, but you will sure leave a hell of a lot out of it to make me the bad guy. Then it just turned into an argument before he left. My son was giving me attitude recently and I got to the bottom of it. Apparently my ex is being evicted and my son wants me to let him sleep on the couch until he finds another place. I said that's not going to happen and he said that's why he didn't even ask. Then went on about how this used to be his house too and I'm the one who divorced him and won't try to get back together. It's not fair that I treat him like a ship over nothing. I had enough of this BS. I told him it was not over nothing. His father had been cheating on me and he got caught. He's the reason our marriage ended. It was his choice that got us here and he can sleep on the street as far as I care. My son said that I was lying and stormed out. After he calmed down, he came back, but he doesn't want to talk about it. I have been trying to give him some space to process everything. I do regret that it came out in anger instead of thought of discussion. But my ex misleading him has been getting his hopes up for nothing and then damaging my relationship with him when I dashed them. I tried talking to him about it when he kept it up. I'm not sure what else I could have done. My opinion about this issue is, OP, it seems that you are not an idiot for telling your teenage son the real reason why you left his father. It's understandable that you would want to set the record straight, especially since your ex has been misleading your son about the situation and causing problems in your relationship with him. However, it might have been better if you had discussed the matter with your son in a calm and measured way instead of letting your anger get the best of you. It's important to remember that your son is also going through a difficult time and might be feeling confused and hurt by the situation. It's important to communicate with him in a way that is sensitive to his feelings and helps him understand the situation better. Going forward, it might be helpful to have a conversation with your son about the situation and listen to his feelings and concerns. You can acknowledge that the divorce has been hard on him and that you understand his desire to have his parents back together. However, it is important to make it clear that your decision is to leave your ex was based on his infidelity and that it's not something that can be easily reconciled. You can also reassure your son that you still love him and that your relationship with him is separate from your relationship with his father. Now we will see what our friends think about this issue. Our friend once said, not an idiot. Honestly, you should have told him right off the bat. It's not a surprise his dad was going to try and manipulate him. It's a good sign he doesn't want to talk about it right now. He's starting to come to terms with it. No one wants to hear that one of the people they grew up with cheated on the other. Saying it out of the anger doesn't take away from the fact that his father cheated on. He is young and his image of his father has changed drastically. Just be understanding and give him time. Our friend too said, not an idiot. Your ex is manipulative. No matter what you believe and what you think right now, don't second guess yourself. It is better that your son knows the truth and stops being misled by his father. The longer you let him fill your son with lies, the stronger that your lying will come out. It is good that you did this now. But I would also look to start rebuilding your son. You just essentially shattered his view of the situation. Maybe look to see if there are any divorce consultant for children to help them cope through a divorce. Don't let your son go through this alone. More importantly, don't let yourself go through this alone either. In story 2, the another person is asking us, am I an idiot for calling my brother a dog thief at my sister's funeral? Several years ago, I purchased for my sister a very expensive dog to comfort her during her battle with cancer. Sadly, her cancer became terminal about 2 months ago and she died last week. Last month, she went into hospice care and my brother went over to her house and took the dog. At that time, this seemed okay because someone had to look after it temporarily. But now he is planning on keeping the dog. Here is my issue. My sister's daughter, now an orphan, wants a dog and I agree she should have it. I don't think my sister would have ever let him take the dog if he had told her he was going to keep it, and I am certain she would want her daughter to have the dog. My niece did not initially take the dog because she lives several states away in an apartment. But in a few months she will be living in the house. I think the best thing for both the dog and my niece is for my niece to have the dog when she gets a house. She is a responsible girl and the dog is one of her last things on this earth that she has to be remember her mom by. My brother has been like some kind of Disney villain, taunting my niece and telling her he will never give it back. And it loves him the most now. He was not even very close or nice to our sister, even as she was dying of cancer, and I now realize taking the dog in the first place was not any kind of generosity to help a dying woman. It was an opportunistic dog napping. Frankly, I am disgusted by his artlessness. Anyways, at the funeral, I was eulogizing my sister and complimenting our other family members on their kindness to each other and my sister. But when it came to mentioning my brother, I just looked at him and the only non-profane words I could muster to describe him here, my brother, the dog thief. Thankfully, everyone laughed and it brought a brief smile to my niece. I have talked to some friends and they are divided on who should get the dog, so now I'm reflecting on the situation and wondering, am I the idiot for calling my brother a dog thief at my sister's funeral? My opinion about this issue is, yes, you are an idiot for calling your brother a dog thief at your sister's funeral. While it's understandable that you are upset about the situation with the dog, a funeral is not appropriate place to publicly shame and insult your family members. It's important to remember that everyone is grieving in their own way and lashing out like this can be hurtful and disrespectful. It's also worth nothing that the issue of who gets the dog should be resolved privately and without causing further conflict within the family. Now we will see what our friends think about this issue. Our friend once said, everyone is an idiot here, but when it comes to how much of an idiot each person is, it's like 5% of you and 90% of what the sheep your brother. The only reason I'm giving you the 5% is because you could have choose a better venue for that gripe. Not saying it's not understandable, though it completely is. Do what you have got to do to get the girl her dog back. And if you show him this thread at all, well, hey brother, quit your sheep and get yourself another damn dog. This one is already taken. Friend 2 said, not an idiot, but still a bit conflicted. Your brother is clearly an idiot in this case. I also think your niece should keep the dog. Saying that your brother is a dog stealer is very inappropriate at a funeral. But I know you had your reasons and you at least made your niece smile. Perhaps you should have chosen a less serious event to call him out of his awful behavior. In story 3, one person is asking us, am I an idiot for reporting a delivery driver that hit on me? Okay, so I am a 22-year-old woman living in an apartment with my best friend. Today is Sunday, she works and I don't. I ordered food from a company that could rhyme with floor crash. My driver arrived quickly and the food was right. However, when he arrived and I opened the door, he smiled at me in a way that made me uncomfortable. I thanked him, quickly took my food and closed and locked my door. Not even 2 minutes later, I received a text message that said verbatim, hey, you really pretty and I mean no disrespect, but if you don't have a man, can we hang out sometime? Personal phone number. I was immediately super uncomfortable because, as far as he knows, I live alone and he has my address. I didn't answer him and immediately reported him. Almost all of my female friends I told, including my roommate, were equally shocked and agreed with me. My dad, partner, and brothers agreed with me. But a few of my other female friends and almost all of my male friends said I was an idiot, that I had probably got him fired for it, and that it was him harmlessly shooting his shot. I'm conflicted because the main reason I'm uncomfortable is that I'm at home. If I were in public, I had have politely declined and walked away, but I'm at home. My opinion about this issue is not an idiot. It's understandable that you felt uncomfortable with the delivery driver's behavior and text message, especially since he had your address and knew that you were home alone. You had every right to report him as his behavior was inappropriate and unprofessional. It's important to prioritize your safety and well-being, and reporting him was a reasonable action to take. It's also important to note that this behavior could be considered a form of harassment, which is never okay. Your friends who are dismissing your concerns and accusing you of getting him fired are not considering your feelings and safety, and their opinions should not sway your decision to report the driver. Now we will see what our friends think about this issue. Our friend once said, "Not an idiot. I did the same thing last summer. And surprisingly, everyone was upset me for reporting him since he could lose his job." Oh yeah, he could, but he could also be a creepy stalker man, also at least continue to be unprofessional and jeopardize his company if thinking him from a business standpoint. It helped my case that his manager was a woman, so she was so apologetic and said that it is never okay for this to happen and that it should not be something we normalize. Our friend too said, "Not an idiot. I am a delivery driver. No matter how attractive someone is, no matter how much I like to see them outside of work, I had never asked someone out at their home when I'm doing a delivery, much less taking their phone number from the ticket and texting them. What he did was a clear overstepping of bounds, and I hope he did get fired. If you're gonna behave like that, then you should not be trusted with a job that gives you access to people's addresses and phone numbers."